Welkom bij een nieuwe aflevering van de wekelijkse podcast van Paul de Vries met de missie de online automotive beter maken. Dit doet Paul met de volgende partners met dezelfde missie: Marktplaats, Calldrip, Findio, Used Car Controller en tweedehands.be.
Hey, welkom allemaal bij deze nieuwe LinkedIn Live van vrijdag. 5 november, 4 uur. En vandaag hebben we een hele speciale gast al hier, namelijk Bob Lanham, de Head of Retail Automotive van Facebook uit Amerika, die samen met ons een discussie gaat vormen, of die gaan we doen op welke manier Facebook de online automotive beter kan maken. Dat is het doel. Hi Bob.
How are you guys doing? I'm ecstatic to be here. So thank you for including me. Looking forward to this.
We are very happy that you are here. Very exciting and looking forward to this discussion. We don't want to talk about your election and how such a big country don't have the technique in place to see the ballots coming in, right?
We definitely need to improve how our voting process is, and hopefully that's one of the big takeaways, right, from this year's election. So
make it safe. Yeah. Bob, I know you, of course, but a lot of people in Holland and Belgium don't know you. So can you introduce yourself and what you're doing at Facebook?
Sure. So Bob Lanham, head of automotive retail at Facebook. I have the pleasure to oversee a small team that manages the top 10 dealer groups in the country. Mm-hmm. We also work directly with the manufacturers and their co-op programs. For those of you unfamiliar with co-op, right? The money that the manufacturers give to the dealers for advertising and marketing. We're also responsible for working with our product teams internally to ensure that we provide the right products now and in the future, for our dealers, as well as partnerships. So we work with, a lot of the software providers and other partners to over time automate a lot of the process that is very manual today. So that's probably just a little snapshot of what our team does, and we do probably a little bit more than that.
And what is done, in your opinion, a small team? Is that in Facebook metrics, is that 200 people or is that 50 people?
No, I wish it was both. It's actually 6.
6 people.
So we cover a lot of ground here in the U.S. and we're on a lot of we were on a lot of airplanes and travel to a lot of cities.
Okay. And Bob, if you talking about Facebook, are you only working at the Facebook platform or also on the Instagram platform and also on the WhatsApp platform and messaging platform, for example?
All of the platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, which is very popular here in the U.S. And then obviously WhatsApp, which is growing rapidly here in the U.S. I know it's the number one communication device outside of the U.S., but it still lags Facebook Messenger here, but rapidly growing. And I forgot to also tell you, so I apologize, we also oversee the top 4 dealer agencies here in the U.S. So we cover a lot of ground.
Okay, cool. Bob, I studied some workshops you did with Brian Pesch from the last DMSC in Napa, but then the virtual one. And I have some questions about that one. Some of our audience also reach out to ask me some questions that I need to question you about that one. So we will figure that out as well. But about that presentation you did with the DMSC, it is very clear to me that Facebook has the same mission as we have in Holland to make the online automotive better, right? To help dealers to be better in the online automotive space on the platforms, and Facebook is one of them. It is their own ecosystem, but there's also more to cover, right? What struck my mind is that you had in your presentation with Brian, you had an example, I don't know if you know that, from a Ford dealer.
Power Ford in New Mexico, yep.
and where you had a 53% uplift in traffic, and when you don't have that much of a budget either to work with. Can you talk about this, what you meant by those examples and what you did with that Ford dealership?
Sure. So, you mentioned, working with the dealers on a lot of metrics, but the number one metric we want to work with every dealer on is their profitability, right? Making sure any dollar they spend with our platform drives not only sales, but profitable sales. And we have the ability to do that with Facebook. So outside of Power Ford, I'll also talk about a Cadillac dealer that we worked with here in the US. And what we did is we worked with them on their entire media plan. So here in the US, we know that the second largest expenditure, or maybe the third largest expenditure, is their advertising and marketing, right? So what they buy and how they buy their media, 100% defines their profitability. Mm-hmm. So what we did with Power Ford is, and I got to give them more of the credit than us, but they looked at their entire media plan and they made changes. They adjusted it. And what they were able to do is actually spend less on their overall media plan and get a higher return. Yeah. So, Paul, I'll tell you, and then we'll go to the next question. One of the things that I've been challenging the industry on is, could you cut, so not spend, 30 to 50% of your advertising and marketing, but still sell the same amount of cars, if not more? They took that challenge and they ran with it.
So, on your opinion, it is not spending more, but spending more wisely, where at that time the attention is in the platforms.
That's exactly right. Spending more doesn't always equate to sales, right? It's how you spend is what equates to sales. So what we just challenged the marketplace to do is evaluate everything that you're buying, look at what's driving sales or ROI, and make adjustments. And, we worked with a Cadillac dealership that cut their advertising and marketing by 90%. In fact, it was 86%. Now,
86% less.
Less. They spent 86% less. Now, what they learned was that they were just overspending to begin with. Like, just from the start, they realized they were spending too much. What happens when you cut spend, especially your second largest expenditure, your gross per car goes up, right? Your PVR goes up. So,
yeah, but is that also a thing when I'm searching the internet and I'm watching all the news on CBT News, for example, that all the dealers in America, for example, in the Corona era, spending less marketing and still sell more cars, which actually meant that they overspent from the get-go, right? But they never know where to spend the money.
For any general manager or dealer principal that's on the live right now, they know that when they went through, if they did go through any training, to be a dealer principal, there are three main expenses that you have to review on a monthly basis, right? Your payroll, which is always going to be your largest expense, your advertising and marketing, and your floor plan or your inventory. And what they learned and what they're learning with their payroll is they're selling the same or more vehicles with less people, right? They've got a different process, an online process or a hybrid process. Obviously, the advertising and marketing and then their floor plan. There was a lot of pent up demand from the second quarter to the third quarter, and I think that's where they're seeing a lot of it. But let's hope it continues.
Yeah. Een question from the audience, what I would ask to the audience, if you have any questions, oftewel, heb je vragen aan Bob, stel ze gerust, zodat we ze mee kunnen nemen zometeen in de vragen die we nog meer hebben. Bob, a big discussion here in Holland is about legal, about cookies, about the third party and cookies, what you can do with it or not. And that can be a big challenge for Facebook, which makes a lot of money to follow all people on the platforms. What is the new way to help dealers with the new regulations on that one, especially in Europe?
Yeah, first and foremost, I mean, the game's going to change a little bit, right? With the ability to track or not track cookies based on what the browsers do, and more importantly, what the mobile phone software companies allow to be done and not done. It'll be interesting. We don't know yet, right? They haven't come out with what they're going to be doing, at least here in the US, as it relates to what they're going to block and not allow tracking. Now, we do have other signals, right? We have Facebook Marketplace, right? We've got ads and clicks. And so, again, I don't want to get too deep into it yet because there's still a lot to be determined.
Yes.
But we'll see. And this is why, Paul, it's so important, though, we measure, right? We give the proper attribution, going back to the Brian Pash event, and what you heard me say when Brian said, Bob, what is the best attribution a dealer can measure? And I said sales.
Yeah.
Spend to sales, right? And we fortunately can do that at Facebook. We can tell every dealer, here's how much money you spent with us. Here's how many people you reached. And out of those people you reached, here's who came in and purchased a product from you or executed a repair order and service. To me, that's the number one attribution metric we should be looking at.
Yes, because the last click attribution is something we should do in the past and not in the future, right? And it's all depending on, at the end, to sell cars. That's why we advertise on the first place. And not for the views, not for the leads, only for the sales. But you mentioned something, also when your shoppers are entering the dealership, are you doing that with the geofencing, or how does Facebook doing that to give that insight to the dealer?
So we do have a product called store visits, which is essentially the ability to track people that go into a store. Now, I will tell you, it's been I think it still might be in beta, and I think we're sort of still evaluating where we're going to go with it. But we can match back to the sale, which to me is more important than a store visit. And how do we do that? It's very simple. So what many don't realize is you can take a CRM list today, right? So a database that dealers might have on customers, right? Everyone that sold to, so on. You can load that into Facebook and target that database. Well, the same way we allow you to load a database to create a target, we allow you to load your sales data to give attribution. And really all your sales data is an email address, a phone number, maybe their address first. It's very simple. That's what we're matching, right? And we're doing it in a very protective way. It's hashed. So
when I'm understanding it correctly, I'm now doing on Facebook a campaign to sell cars, right? I'm giving you the database, what is legal in Holland, what can be done here, and what is within the law. Then I'm doing the campaign, I'm getting the views, I'm getting the clicks, I'm getting the leads, I'm getting the leads from the direct through Google, but it started somewhere on Facebook. That's fine. You are not getting the last click, but you're getting the first. But then you are saying after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, give me the sales data back, and then I can match it together and I can show you what our attribution is in the whole journey.
That's exactly right. And not only on Facebook and Instagram, right? But if you tag it correctly through Facebook attribution, your other digital media, right? So you'll be able to see what role each of the platforms that you've bought plays in a sale, right? And then what we tell our clients to do is now put the cost, how much you spent on each platform. And now you can get your cost per car sold, right? And you start to see, wow, I'm spending a lot of money here and only getting this return versus here, and I still have a lot more I could spend there. So it's been really interesting to work with partners once they get off of Facebook, once they get away from last click and move to the sale. Their mind opens up. It's a whole
because the last click is a metric which it was accurate when you don't have any other KPI to measure. But in a 2020 world, you have more attribution models and you know more, so you should be more data-driven than you ever be. And because the world is changing, right?
That's exactly right. We only had leads to be able to measure, right? And then we started to be able to measure, site traffic, and that was cool. But if we can measure to a sale, isn't that what we want to do? I joke in the US when I'm in front of dealers, and I say, if you strongly believe Facebook, if you strongly believe last click attribution should be the only metric, then spend all your money on search, because they'll always win the last click for the most part, right? But we know human behavior doesn't work that way. They need advertising, right, to build the consideration, to create the interest. Then they go search.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you're talking about search, about the last click, we also living in a world where filling out a form is a stupid thing. And to email a customer is also something from the past. Is next beside the fax machine, and direct messaging in what form or another, if this WhatsApp or what you are doing in the States, still text or Facebook Messenger or which other portal. That's the way we wanted to communicate with our consumers in the first place in the 2021 world.
If you can get over the mindset, and I don't want to speak for the dealers in your market, but if dealers here in the US can get over that mindset that the person has to physically be in the store to actually start the sale, and realize that someone on a mobile device who's messaging you is what I call a digital up. It's no different than a physical up in the store. Once they realize that and they start to control that conversation, they see their close rates go like that. It is no different. Someone behind here is no different than someone that's physically in the store. But dealers have to change that mindset, right? They're so used to, when can I get you in?
Yes. Hey, and Bob, another question. What Facebook is famous about for the last 1 year, 2 years, is the introduction of marketplaces. So what is, in your opinion, marketplaces for a tool for a dealer? Because if I'm being honest, if I'm looking at marketplaces, I only see private sellers, but never actually real dealers, right? So in my mind, the perception is it's only for the FISBO, for sale by owner, right? What is your opinion about marketplaces, and what is the future about marketplaces for the dealers?
Steeds meer collega's gebruiken Used Car Controller. Taxeren, calculeren, publiceren of auto's verhandelen met je persoonlijke handelsplatform? Met 1 abonnement geeft Used Car Controller je controle over alle kritische gebruikte autoprocessen. Zo maakt Used Car Controller je tot de beste in je vak. Findio is de merkonafhankelijke automotive partner. Findio is er voor uw klanten en u. Zo kunt u zorgeloos ondernemen en uw rendement verbeteren. Uw online leads opvolgen binnen 30 seconden? Dat kan met Calldrip. Vraag direct een demo aan.
Yeah, and Paul, I'm not versed on where we are with marketplace in every country, so apologize on that. But here in the US, we are already loading dealer inventory, so they can work through a partner or actually list themselves all of their inventory, so it will have the same look and feel as a consumer listing their inventory. But here's what's really important to understand, Paul, just to follow your last comment about messaging. There are 2 primary forms of communication between buyer and seller, or dealer and buyer. And if I was with you all right now, I'd ask the audience, does anybody know what those 2 forms of communication are?
Now ask the question, and then we are getting the answers.
Let's ask. Let's see who knows who those 2 primary forms of communication. I'll give you a hint, everyone.
Yeah.
It's not lead form. It is not supply your lead form and hope you email. It's click to call, send message. And we did that by design because we know it's a better experience.
Yes.
Right? And we're learning here in the US, or we've already learned, but we need dealers to adapt. It's about the experience, not the price, as to why people choose the dealership they want to purchase from.
Yeah. But are you also aware when you're saying the two major click to action buttons are the send a message or click to call? Do you also knowing at Facebook that, for example, a click to call is driving more sales than a message, or does it makes that no sense? They are both good.
Here's what we're learning, because remember, there's a whole learning process the dealers are going through, right? Because historically, everyone has a chat provider, right? A third-party company to handle their messaging, right? So here's what we're learning, right? Form leads is the lowest close rate. I don't think anyone would not deny that it's the lowest. Click to call tends to be that higher close rate, right? And what we're seeing is when dealers handle the messages themselves, okay? Yes. When their own BDC, Business Development Center, or their own salespeople converse, they're seeing that becoming, and I'll just say becoming, I think there's still more one of the highest close rate platforms, because it's no different than someone physically being there, right? It's person to person. It's so you just gotta get over that mindset.
Yeah. Bob, one other question I'm getting, is the automotive space as a vertical for Facebook important enough to make special products, special software to help dealers, or is it one of the many and they have to do it with the normal standard generic tools you have?
No. The automotive vertical is extremely important to Facebook. And, that's part of my job, which is to work with not only the Marketplace team, right? And an autos team within Marketplace, but we have an autos product team, right? That also looks at building automotive and automotive dealer specific products so that we can truly deliver, like I said, profitable marketing, right? That drives sales and more importantly, profit for the dealer. So it is very important, and know that we have teams solely focused on automotive.
Yeah. One of the questions the audience is giving is Joep van der Meer. He is asking, when are you going to implement the Buy It Now button in Facebook for cars?
Man, I want you to send me that question, a screenshot of that.
Yeah.
I just had that conversation internally.
Yeah.
So I will be taking this snippet and sending it to the team.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for you right now, but I tell you this. It has been discussed. I have brought it to the table, right? We do have to rely on the digital retailing platforms.
Yes,
right? Because that's what we want to drive to, right? Drive to that digital retailing platform that the dealer is already paying for. But know that it is been discussed.
Yes,
there's been outreach to the digital platforms, at least here in the U.S. So no, can't give you an answer on when, but thank you for the question. I'll just say that.
Of course, no problem whatsoever. But the same question I have is from the WhatsApp platform, right? Because you are saying it correctly. In Europe, is it the biggest messaging tool there is? We think that text, SMS is something from the past. And WhatsApp is something what we are using now. But I can imagine if you are comparing WhatsApp with the Chinese examples where you can actually buy, trade, you can do a lot more, then WhatsApp is maybe lagging behind. What are the new things for the automotive space, especially what WhatsApp is going to bring next year, for example, if you can share that?
Yeah, all I can share is working on it. Everything you just outlined in terms of the role that WhatsApp can play in connecting a seller to a buyer, and in this case, dealers, it's all being worked on. I can tell you I've been a part of a number of meetings and a number of filling out documents, et cetera. And I love to read what the team in EMEA is writing about WhatsApp, because I get to learn a lot on. But for us, like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, I look at it as the same concept. Yeah. It's just a different tool, but essentially the same concept, right? So yeah, I guess what I'll share with you is, just like digital retailing and the buy it now button, all being discussed.
All being discussed, maybe in development, but you cannot share it already. That's fine. We know how it works. What about the next summit Brian is going to organize in November? Are you doing your part as well again?
In November, yes. So we will have a section. And in fact, I'll have someone from my team by the name of Alfred Kishik, who I made our Facebook attribution expert, over a year ago. He'll be also on the line, and we'll be working with, Brian's agency, and they'll be walking through how to set it up, how to look at the data, what data you need so you can have it properly view in the tool. So what I really would love to see Brian and others do is become advocates of the platform the same way they were advocates of Google attribution and Google My Business. And, we need those advocates because we are a small team. So he's taken on that challenge, and I'm really excited on our partnership with Brian and the rest of his entities on this.
And Bob, because there are, I think, about 180 attendees from Holland in that summit as well. What can Dutch dealers or independents or people like us do to help you to make the Facebook platform here also better engaged for the dealers to sell cars?
For sure. We have a playbook that is now not just US based. The strategies hold true throughout the country. And I spent a couple of years on calls like this throughout the country learning from you all. And what I did learn is, while there might be some nuances in each market or each country on how cars are sold or bought and whatnot, at the end of the day, the marketing actually is somewhat universal, right? And how we're trying to drive traffic. So we have a playbook. So first and foremost, understand the strategies and why. And Paul, I'm not asking to be back on with you, but if you like, more than happy to walk through the playbook and why we put those strategies together, because I did not invent them, right? They're strategies that dealers have been running forever. They just didn't know they could do it on Facebook. So understand the playbook, and then understand Facebook attribution and the power of it. It truly, and I'm not here to say replace Google Analytics or some other attribution tool, but use it in complement of. And I'll tell you, the best marketers here in the US, and I would bet throughout the world, do not use one measurement tool, right? They use multiple to define. And the reason being, not everybody can get everybody's data, right?
No, but Bob, we are always saying here as well, one data point of data is no data.
That's right.
You need different sources because everyone, and that's okay, that's fine as well, have their own starting point or what they wanted to have the message across. So that's fine, but one data point is never being a data point. One of the last questions, Bob, that playbook, is that a PDF what we can share to our audience after that you can send me, or what's that?
I will send you a web address.
Yes.
That not only has our playbook, but it also has what we put together as just to remind the dealer community that on your Facebook page and your Instagram handle, there are some tools that are free that you should be utilizing. So there's a separate PDF on that. There's also sign up for our newsletter. And then there's some videos that, I'll be honest with you, are a little outdated. They're about a year and a half old, which in our world is outdated, but they're how-to videos. So if you want to learn how to load a database into Facebook, they're 5 minutes long, I think max, how to set up your Facebook pixel, so on and so forth. It's there. But the playbook is long, and I did that on purpose because it's very detailed on the how-to.
Yes.
So if over time you just start to read it, you'll learn very quickly how to execute on Facebook and Instagram.
Great, and I want to gets the opportunity as well, because you said it yourself that you want to be back to go over the playbook and help the Dutch and the Belgian dealers to be better at it. I have one of the questions from the audience. Hi Bob, I noticed that you talked about the automotive placing ads for car dealers in the US. Are there plans to open the API also to other parties in Europe?
It's a great question. There actually is a separate team that handles parts and service being independent service stations, not
Yes.
dealer service. I know they're working really hard to see how they can implement parts and accessories into Marketplace. So I don't have an answer for you on timeline or where they are. I wish I did, so apologize, but I can follow up on that.
Okay. Bob, thank you very much for your time that you are giving us, our audience in Holland and Belgium. So thank you very much. And we are going to catch up very soon. I'm going to looking forward to your session at Brian's Automotive and Analytics Attribution Summit. We are going to do 2 days of Dutch content as well in that same summit, with 25 workshops, and maybe we can ask somebody from Facebook Holland the next time to do it in Dutch as well, for some folks which don't understand English in Holland, and that's only a few, so don't worry about that one. So thank you very much, Bob.
Thank you. I had a great time. If you want me back, I'll be back anytime you want.
We are going to ask you back, Bob. No question about that one. Thank you. Have a great Friday and great weekend, and hope that you have a president very soon.
Amen to that. And you all have a great weekend as well.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Dankjewel voor het luisteren naar wederom een aflevering van onze podcast met de missie om de online automotive beter te maken. Waardeert u onze podcast? Abonneer dan snel via onder andere iTunes, Spotify of Soundcloud. Actief delen op LinkedIn of Facebook? Dat waarderen wij graag. Evenals een review op iTunes. De podcast van Paul wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door de volgende partners: Marktplaats, Calldrip, Findio, Used Car Controller en tweedehands.be.